Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining, and I welcome you all to Tableau Buddy Talks Workout Wednesday workshop. This type of workshop we are doing for the first time. We used to have these sessions, and then now this time we are coming with a workshop. So before we start, we'll start with the same format. Our mission is to support new or unsung data heroes to present their data story and help them grab a chance. That's what our mission is. And the vision is to serve as a platform for you all, whosoever is joining. If you want to speak up, ping us, message us, and if you are ready, just we'll have the stage ready for you. Coming on to, I just wanted to welcome our new co-leader, that is Avinash Reddy Munanji. He has been in Data Fam for so long, and he has finally joined us. So that's good for us. Like, we are expanding and we are growing as well. He has received 2 VOTDs. Now he has been a great TUG speaker and is a senior BI developer at Optum. Okay, Avinash is there. And going on, I think life motto, he believes in his hard work. There's no shortcut to achieve my goals. That's I'll say hardcore. And he likes to play with his little boy. He loves traveling and Tableau Public. That's really like we can see his business and portfolio. You can always go to Tableau Public and see what all great business he has already built. And apart from that, he also loves meditation and cooking. So like I think he has 48 hours in a day. Like he does so many things. Also you can connect with him on Twitter and LinkedIn. You have these or you can just go to LinkedIn, or you might be already connected with them. So moving on, Vani, one of our members, today she's sick, and you all know Vani already. She's a Tableau social ambassador and data visualization engineer at Expedia Group. We won't go much into it because Vani will be, I think, back soon in our next event. And then finally, me, your host, and I work at MX GBT, and I founded Tableau Buddy program, and I'm a data nerd. I now I need to classify myself as a nerd. I wasn't actually, but it's okay. Now, going on to the start of our day, that's Ajay Varghese, a colleague and a friend of mine coming from MXGVT. He's a Tableau Public featured author, recently became Tableau Public featured author and under Hire Me Edition, and is a great person, and he has lots of tips and tricks, and he's a calculation master. That's for sure, I can say. So moving on, we won't take much of your time because this is going to be intensive. This is a 1 hour workshop, and he is going to solve our our vision is to to solve 3 back-to-back challenges, but you have to cope up with that as well. So I won't take much of your time. Ajay, take the stage and take us through the workshop that we have been all waiting for.
Okay. Hi
Yeah,
guys.
and
Yeah. Hi guys.
sorry. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to drop in chat. So Ajay, or maybe Prasanna or myself will have a look and address at the end of the session. Thank you. Sorry, Ajay. Please continue.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone. So this is a. I first would like to thank Prasan for forcing me to have this workshop. Normally, I'm not very good at public speaking and explaining things to others. But like he told, I can do things but not explain. This is me coming out of my comfort zone to present to you. Workout Wednesday, because as far as personally Workout Wednesday, I feel they are really a great integral part of the data farm community, because it gives us a lot of like it flexes our muscles. That's why it's given an app name, Workout Wednesday. It really flexes our Tableau muscles. Like we get to know things which we don't even think that Tableau can do, or which we never thought we could do in a professional setup. So that's about it. Let's start with that. So let's start with the workshop. So about me, I currently work as a business analyst. I started with Tableau Public in 2020 with Makeover Monterey Business. That was the first thing I did as a community project. Then I got to know about Workout Wednesday. Then after that, there was real world fake data, which is one of the very good initiatives as far as data farm community is concerned, because you get a lot of data which can be used to create beautiful dashboards. Like we can be the analyst and create the dashboards. So you see my Tableau public page, I normally wish about India related topics and mostly our community projects and business dashboards. So that's about me. So about Workout Wednesday. So this happens every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, the Workout Wednesday team provides a new visual, which we are supposed to recreate based on a set of criteria that is given along with the challenge. So it has a lot of depth of challenges which use extreme table calculations, like a lot of interactions, a lot of features such as set actions, parameter actions. It also brings in a lot of niche Tableau initiatives like dashboard extension, how to use that. So it has a varied set of challenges which we can use in this one. So just to give you a background, so this is I hope most of you are aware about Workout Wednesday. So this is the Workout Wednesday page. So as you can see, on August 2nd, there was a new challenge which was given. And from last year, if I'm not wrong, they have started including Power BI challenges also. Initially, it started as a Workout Wednesday, Tableau related challenges. So it has a lot of challenges. You can explore the ones you want. So for making it easy as a beginner, me and Prasan was having the discussion. So we decided on 3 challenges, which are like general challenges, which anyone can readily utilize in their professional or personal environment for making the dashboard or an analysis more user friendly. So let's go to the first one. This is for the week 1 of 2022. So this is the challenge. So it's about visualizing the wildlife strikes based on the FAA data. So in this challenge, the major this one is to have most of the time when Tableau gives you a lot of immense features to filter, segregate, highlight. There are a lot of things that Tableau can do. But as a user who just begins with Tableau, he or she might not be aware that he's filtering on something or whether what is this data exactly showing. So as you can see in the GIF, once we select on the map, it gets updated that the incidents are only part of Missouri. So let's start with the challenge. So you can find the data set here. And as you can see, it uses what do you say? A specific shapefile of US country. So as you know, Alaska falls around somewhere here. So just to make it more concise on this one, we have some shapefiles also, which they have provided in this one. For making it easy, I have downloaded all the data and kept it. So you get 2 files. This is the data set from FAA, and this is the shapefile which we need to import to bring in. So let's open up Tableau. So let's connect to the first one. Now let's bring in the shapefile also. So here just to give you an overview, these are the data points that are there. And the field of relevance for merging the data is only state name. So we have a state name here, which is a geographical field, as Tableau has detected it. So let's do a relationship based on this data. So here, this will be on the state name. And this shapefile also has the statement. So we have created a relationship based on just a statement. So let's go into the sheet. As you can see, there are a lot of things here. And also, like if you go through the data, it doesn't have a unique identifier for each row. So the structure of the data is in such a way that each row represents a separate incident. Okay. So let's go back to the visual. So for making it easy to view, I also created one. Let's go back to that. So by the time it opens, let's go to the requirements. So every challenge will be given with a requirement. That is, this is a standard dashboard size, which we should be able to provide. And there is no restrictions on the number of sheets you can use. Sometimes there are number of restrictions, so that it makes it more challenging. So first thing is we need to create a bar chart of the top 10, and all others needs to be grouped as others. And we need to create a map of US territories based on the custom shapefile. And then we need to create a area chart over the year. That is how the incidents are increasing or decreasing, as what is the trend of that this one across the year. So we need to create 3 charts as far as we are concerned. One is the map, one is the bar chart, and the other one is the area chart. And also, there are locations where we are unaware of the exact territory on which the incident happened. So for them, in the data set, they are coming as blank. So let's start about building the map first. So to build the map in the shapefile, we'll have something called the geometry. You can either drag it or double click to get to this one on the view. So now this actually Tableau considers at a single this one. So we need to tell that Tableau needs to split it by this. So let's add the state name to details. So this is our last this one. Now what we as per the challenge, we need to visualize the wildlife incidents. So as I have told you, there is no specific identifier. So what we can do is Tableau also, we can use, we can directly count the number of rows in that data set. So we can do something like, we can count the total this one in that specific data set which we connected to. So this gives me the total number of incidents that are there in the data. So now, as you can see, we the fluoropath is being colored based on the wildlife incidents. So let's take it to colors. Since we have already aggregated the data, this is how we will get it. And as per the challenge, we need to use something of red this one. So let's change the color scheme. And to now we can go to the maps and to map layers, and we can remove all the, just wash out the entire system so that it's blank, because the other geography doesn't make sense for us, because as if you see, This is exactly not falling on the US territory at all. So let's just wash it out. So as you can see, there is one null because this did not have the latitude and longitude for this location. So let's leave about that for the time being. So as far as we are concerned, the map is complete. Now let's start with the bar chart. So let's just name it for our convenience. So the bar chart has this one. The top 10 needs to be individually given there, and others needs to be aggregated and shown under others, all other category of person. So if you see under the species type, there are 23 types of species which are listed in the data set. So let's create a top 10 set. So we can use the wildlife incidents. Wherever the top 10 wildlife incidents will be coming under this set. Now we have a list of, like if you drag it here. So these are the top 10, what do you say, top 10 species type based on the number of this one. So we need to create another calculation, that is species display or something. Let's tell it as this one. So if it is under species set, it is top 10. So we need the exact name to be written there, and else we need to categorize it as others. So yeah. So again, and this needs to be sorted. And the sort criteria will be on wildlife incidents, and it should be descending. And let's do under for the 19. And also, if you see in this visual, we need to segregate. I mean, we need to color the top 10 in a different color and the others in a different color. So instead of writing a new calculation, we can make use of the same set. So we can give a red here. So this bar chart is also complete. Now let's go back to our incidents. That is the area chart. The area chart is quite simple. We have the incident here in the data. And then we have the wildlife incidents. And let's make it an area chart. And let's give it some. Now let's come back to the other requirements as far as this one is concerned. So if you see, we need two calculations. One is to tell us whether what country is selected, sorry, what state is selected, and the other is to show us what is the type of species that is selected. So let's create the first one. I am making use of parameter actions for doing this. So let's do a select stage and make it string. And let's keep the current value as blank. And that's it. Now let's create this one. So when no the parameter is blank, we need to have blank. Like so let's create that calculation. So when it is not equal to blank, we need the select name as else we just need a blank. Sorry. If you see clearly when it is selected, we need in Montana. Got it? We need something like that. So let's do a thing this one. Now let's add this to the detail so that we can add it to the this one. And for the area chart, so now since no action has been cut, similarly, let's create a parameter for species. So the calculation will be same. I'm just copying the color to match the color scheme. So let's create a dashboard. So let's go back to the requirements and see what is the dashboard size. So it's 1200 by 900. So let's add a vertical container. So let's give the password. Next is let's check what is the layout we want. So let's add a horizontal container here. We need the map here and the path set here. Same here, we need to provide the information of what state is filtered here. So let's add the state header to the detail shell. And let's add this one. So we have the layout and all the dashboards, this one. One more thing that is missing is there was a requirement to provide unknown locations as this one. So let's take the state name and filter to none. So let's add that as a plotting this thing. So now visual assets is complete. So now let's add the actions that is required. So we need to have two parameter actions. So let's add that first. So go to dashboard actions. Let's add the parameter action first. So when I select the map, this one, I need to change the select state. And when clearing the selection, it needs to be set to blank. And on the field name. Next is I need to add another parameter action to select species. So select species happens on the bar chart. Same here, set the value to blank. Select species. This. Okay. Now the when as per the requirement, when we select a state, the charts needs to get updated for the, filtered for that particular state. So let's add two filter action for that also. So filter, that is filter by state. So when I click on this one, when I select the map field, and filter will be on the also when I click on the bar chart, I need to filter it on this one. Filter the other views based on the species type. So let's add that filter also. That is filter. So when I select the bar chart, so the actions have also been set. So let's check if everything is done correctly. So when I click on Texas state, my header also gets updated and my data also this one. Also, one more thing you need to take care is like this particular chart was using sets, and by Tableau order of operations, the set action will happen. I mean, calculation of sets will happen after the dimension filter. I mean, before the dimension filter. So for it to filter properly, we need to add the state filter to context. So let's add that to context. So now everything looks fine. So as far as map is concerned, let's filter on this one. So that's it for the first one. You can fix up the layout as per you want. This is the layout in which the challenge expects us to do that. Since we don't have much time, I have done it just to give you the fair amount of idea how we can replicate the challenge. So if anyone has any questions related to this, we can take it up quickly. Does anyone have any questions, or can we go ahead with the next challenge?
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
In the chat box, people will put up and we'll try to answer them. And if needed at the end, we'll have all the questions.
Okay. So this was one of the easiest workout challenges. Some challenges literally are too difficult to handle, and some uses very nuances of Tableau. So we thought next one, like everyone wants a text table. So this was a challenge that was really interesting. So the requirement was to create a text table and only use measure names and measure values. So it really enhances our knowledge about custom formatting. So let's start with that challenge. So again, let's open up a new window. So let's connect to the data. you can directly download the data from the challenge page itself. So I have pre-downloaded the data and kept it with me. So let's connect to the data. So this is based on the orders table. As such, we don't have anything to be done at the data end. So let's start with the calculations directly. So let's go back. Let me open up the completed resources. So this visual actually requires 3-4 calculations. So first, let's go about current year sales. So for that, let's create a calculation field to create current year. So my current year will be, let's take year of the maximum data set per year. So for the date, since we want it for the whole data set, let's do a fixed calculation. Okay. And let's create what is the last year also. Last year will be just current year -1. Now let's create a calculation for the current year sales. So if year of order date is current year, then sales. Okay. Let's duplicate this one and do the same calculation for last year. So last year sales will be, if is this one equal to last year. Okay. Next, we need to have current year versus last year. So whenever this one is more than current year, we will have to give a tick, and whenever the current year sales is less than the last year, we will give it a false. So if CY sales greater than last year sales, then we'll be using number formatting for all this. So whenever current year this one, let's keep it as positive. So I'm just keeping it as 1, else -1. So let's create the visual first. So we need the order month. So let's create a calculation for the order month also, so that we can use it. So order month, for every month we need the current year sales. Then we need to show the last year sales, and we need to show current year versus last year. So if you see the format in which we want is with 0 decimal points with a $sign for the current year. So let's do formatting of that. Go to right click on the bill, default properties, number format. Then we can give. So we don't need any decimal points. The alternative way is we can always do it based on the custom this one. I'll come back to that in a minute. So that's it. So, and also let's make it entire so that everything is clearly. Now, same with the last year sales. Default property, number format. Go to currency. Dollar sign is already there, or else you need to copy and paste. So that's also done. Now, current year versus last year. So here we can use the Tableau's default custom number formatting to get the required system. So let's take a number, how custom, and come back to custom. You can see how Tableau represents it, right? When I'm creating a something called a Tableau number custom, what I am telling is I want 2 decimal places, and I just want this one, and include 1000 separators. That is the settings I have done. So if you go back to custom, you can see that whenever it has this is what the format should be for the positive numbers, and this is what the format should be for the negative numbers. And after the semicolon, you can give the format you want for the zero also. There is an additional fact, this one for that. So if you remove the 1000 separators, we get some. If you go back to custom, you can see it like this. So here, what is our requirement was to give whenever it is positive, we need a tick mark. So I have just copied the alt code. So let me copy this. So whenever it is positive, we will get a tick this one, and whenever it is negative, we will get something like this. And also, we need to correct our calculation. We just consider it as the raw level. So let's aggregate the calculation. So that is also done. So the next, this one needs to have the difference. So let's calculate the difference. Difference is nothing but sum of current year sales minus sum of last year's sales. Same. So for difference, what is the format we want is we want a plus sign before the this one, and it needs to be having dollar sign also. So again, go back to default properties, number format. So let's come to like one way of doing it very fast is let's do everything here itself first. So for currency, we don't want any decimal points, and the prefix should be dollar sign. Okay, then come back to custom. You can see that the prefix should be this one. So before the dollar sign, we also need a plus sign, plus symbol, and for the negatives, we need a negative symbol. So let's do it like that. Add it to the visual. So you can see that where our negative is coming, there is negative sign, and where our positive is there, it's positive. Now, next one is percentage difference. So let's create a calculation. So we have the difference. So let's divide it by the last year's sales. Again, number format. So here it is percentage, and we need only 1 decimal point. So let's bring it to 1, then go back to custom. here we can write as before this one, you need a plus and then put a semicolon. Then whatever is the format in which you want the negative numbers to be. So I want positive, when the percentage difference is positive, I want a plus sign in front of that. And when it is negative, I want a negative sign. So I have done the formatting. So now let's bring it to the view. So that also is done. Now next one is best day and worst day. So how best day and worst day is concerned with, in the month of Jan, what is the best day on which I had the highest sale? So that is what the best day of Jan is. So let's first find out what is the sales per day. So we can use the fixed calculation. So for every order date, for every order date, what is the current year sales? So now I know what is the sales per day. Now maximum sales per day of each month. That is, let's say we are taking it for the month of Jan. We need to know what is the maximum. So let's again do a fixed LOD. Fixed at the order month level. So at the order month level, what is the maximum of sales per day? And close the curly bracket. So now I know what is the maximum on that day. Then now let's create a calculated field to find out the best day. So like I have just written down the calculation for my business. Like so first thing is I want to find the day on which it was the maximum. So let's do this. If sales per day, when our sales per day is equal to max this one, I need to return the order date. So this gives me the day on which the maximum sale happened. Now I need this for each order month. So let's find the maximum for each order month. For each order month, what is the maximum date on which this one happened? Now to use number formatting, it should be in a number, this one. So let's convert it to int. Most of you will be familiar with how Excel stores the data. So dates are also stored as numbers in Tableau also. So we can make integer of this, which will return as a value. And in Tableau, to get the exact date, we need to add 2. Just, I mean, what if we don't add the 2, we will get 2 days ahead. So to make the correct calculation right, we have done it like that. So the calculation is quite simple. Whenever this one is this order date plus 2. So let's format the best day. So we need it in DD M Y1. So let's add it to the view. Let's have a check. 16 Jan, 17 Feb. So yeah, it looks good at the end. The calculation is quite similar for minimum sales also. So let's calculate minimum sales per day. So for every order month, what is the minimum of sales per day? That will be the minimum sales for that per month. Okay, then the calculation is similar. So this is the worst day. So this one, whenever it is equal to the minimum sales per day, then return the order date, and for each order month, take the minimum or maximum, doesn't make difference. So let's take minimum so that it makes more. So that is also calculated. So worst day is this one. And let's change since I duplicated that field, it will retain the custom month formatting. So let's add it to the view. So just a cross check 6 and 28. Yeah, it looks fine. The next one is to rank the months, whether it is in the top 6 or in the bottom 6. So let's create a calculation here. So with ranking, I normally use rank function. So let's put top, bottom, rank. So if when it is then one, else let's do -1. So since it's a window function, it needs to be aggregated. So let me get a control one. So let's again this one. So what we are given is if it is in the top 6, we have given it a value of 1. So it will be positive. So when it is positive, we want to return top, and when it is negative, we want to return it as bottom. So the custom number formatting we need to give will be something like this. So let's add that also to that. And we can edit the alias to make it more readable. So we can make it as rank. So now we have done all the calculations. Now to color them, we can add the measure values to the color shell. And with measure values, what you can do is you can right click and use a separate legend. So what is there is current year sales will have a different color, and last year sales will have a different color. So for this, we needed something green and red. So let's take okay. It did not. It doesn't require a color. So what we can do is we can select custom diverging. Sorry, custom sequence, and create a color. And in step colors, we can make it. Sorry, we need to use custom diverging. Let's take black at 4 times. So that is done. Similarly, we can color this one, custom diverging. Select black. Then step colors, make it 2, so that it's a simple color. So for this, we need something of red and this one. So let's take red and green and make the step colors 2. So that part also is done. Similar is the case with this one. All the positive needs to be in green. So let's take this one, step colors. Similar is the case with this one. Now for the best day, we need it to be colored as green. So let's take custom diverging and select a green color. When you're doing it, actually, you can match the colors from the workbook. Now, since we are short of time, I'm doing it like this. And for the worst day, we need something of a red. So similarly, custom diverging. Let's take that. And with top and bottom also same. We can do a red green diverging and make the colors. So this is our final this one. As per the requirement, you can match the color scheme and other things. So any doubt on this? Present, I think we are short of time. Should we proceed?
Yes, we are short of time. If you have bandwidth, we can extend a bit. And I think some people are here as well. They're interested.
Okay. Then we can maybe do that also. So the third challenge is something which we will always use in our dashboards. Our dashboard is like real estate. So we always are short of time. I mean, short of space to put in all the things we want to show. And sometimes it makes more sense to give interactions rather than to put the whole thing on the dashboard. So parameter actions helps in this one. So this is one of the good examples of how you can leverage parameter actions to create a user-friendly this one. So here the requirement was something very this one. So the below trend line chart will actually change based on what we select. Let's say we select the games. This gives, I mean, this is the actual trend, how it is going. And when we select games, we get a more detailed and zoomed in view where we can identify more trends or find out what exactly is happening. So let's go about building this. So let's open up a new sheet. So by the time it opens up, let's see what are the requirements. So games are like how many, what is the number of games? This data set actually has the information for 2 baseball players. So it has a lot of data. The data relevance to us is what is the number of games played by each player, then what is the number of hits that he has taken while at play, and So what is the number of hits he is taking per game? Then the home runs he has hit, and how many times he has been at bat by the number of times he has hit, by the number of home runs. So Tableau has opened up. So let's connect to the data. So similar case, I have already downloaded and kept the data. So as you can see, it has a lot of information. It has actually 32 columns, but not all are important to us. So let's select all that and hide whatever is irrelevant. So we need the games information. We need the at bat. We need the home runs. So let's do one then. So let's hide this one too. And all this one. So for making it more user friendly, let's rename this as games. This as let's keep it as 80, and H is hits. H is home run. So let's come back to the sheet. So we have all the information we require. So first thing is we need to be able to change the metrics based on the measure. So let's create a parameter to select which measure we want to show. Then let's keep it as string, and let's just add the, since we are not changing it dynamically, let's keep the current value as games. And let's create a calculated field. So for the calculated field, for making it easier, I'm just copying the calculations. Okay, so before going about it, let's create all the calculations that are required. Games is directly an AT field, so hits per game is there. So hits per game. That is sum of hits divided by the sum of games. Next is AB by HR. So let's create that. Okay. At that divided by sum of home runs. So we have all the necessary calculations. So let's create this one. Based on this one, we needed to show what is a measure we want to show. So let's create a calculation for this one. So when selected measure, that is when this parameter actually is changed to games, we need to display the sum of games. When it is hits, we need to display sum of hits. And similarly, we have to do this one. So that is done. So over the year, let's show the result. So currently it is showing the games. So let's add that to this one also, so that we are aware what it is exactly displaying. So now for this one, then we need it to be displaying across the players. So that's right. Now if you see, we want to show the minimum and maximum for each of these players for that particular this one. So let's add this to the table, and we need to only show minimum and maximum, and it needs to be shown for each line. That is, each line represents a player, and we need to show the maximum and minimum for that this one. So I have selected min max and for each line and type. So this creates my trend chart. So let's duplicate this. Now this visual has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For all the 5 matrices, we need to show the trend. So let's create that chart. The way I have done is I have created separate 5 charts for that. So let's create for games first. We can replace this with sum of games, and we don't need the this one, and we don't need any axis. That's it. Now let's duplicate this sheet and let's show for runs. For runs, similarly, let's replace this one. Sorry, let's do hits. Sum of hits, and let's duplicate. What is the next metric? Hits per game. So let's do hits per game. We can replace it here. So that is required. Next is let's again duplicate. We need to show home runs. So let's add home runs here. So that's also done. Now let's duplicate and create the final this one, that is AB by HR at that by the home run. So, and let's. So we had created all this. Now the thing is we don't have a field name which actually gives us games, hits per game and other things. So what we can do is we can piggyback on a field that is already available in both the results. So let's do selected metric. So when I click on that, what value I need to this one. So I am using the year field to do that case here. So since we are short of time, I'm just copying this one. I'll explain the logic. So it's quite simple. When the year is 2017, I'm just renaming them as games. So that's a calculation. Now let's bring in selected metric here. Let's do this. So now what is there is so let's create this one for the first player. So let's take Kappa. So what is there is we need to filter the data. So if player name equals to what is the exact name? Then whenever let's take the case this one, when selected metric is equal to, okay, let's take the case of selected metric. So I'm just copying this for, since we are short of time. So when the selected matrix is gained, we need the sum of gains. But if we just write the sum of gains, so for the time being, let me remove all this. What happens is Tableau actually, in case and if statements, Tableau will throw you an error that at the end also. So even now there will be an error that is cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate values. So in case statements and if this one Tableau doesn't like aggregated values. So to do a quick fix around that, so what we can do is we can bring them under an LOD. So that will fix that issue. So similarly for all this one, let's do this and let me comment this. Yeah. So this is the case for this one. Now let's duplicate this. Sorry. It will be for the other player. Which ones? So when it is this one. Now we can bring in both these values to this. And let's also bring in the selected metric here. And since we want something like that, I'm creating a minimum calculation and fixing the access to 1 so that it fills the entire area. And also let me fix it to entire view. And now we can format this one to the way we want. So I'm just cheating now because of short of time. So let me take this one here and just paste it here. And also let's fix this one. We want it to the side and we want it at the top always. And now this one is let's create a calculated field to color this. So when the selected matrix is this one, so let's see what is the calculation. So it's like when I select the measure that needs to be displayed, when it is equal to the selected metric, then we need to color them as one color and the other as a different color. So I created a color calculation. Let me bring it to this. So currently gains is selected. And the order, you can manually arrange the order. You want gains, hits, then hits per game. Home runs, then API. So once that is done, you can this and also hide this one. Now let's keep the transparency at say around 50%. Now let's start building the dashboard. So the dashboard size was 1000 by 900. So that is done. Let's add a vertical container. Let's add blank, which is there. Now let's add let's copy the text as well. Now let's add the this one. We can select that metric selector. So let's come back to metric selector and add it there and remove this. Now what we can do is we can also increase the size a bit so that there is less spacing between these. So it looks good. Let's fix it somewhere where we have enough space to put the trend chart also. Now what we can do is we can bring in the charts. So this needs to be plotting under this chart to give that exact effect. So what we can do is we can bring in each of that chart. So first let me bring in themes as a plotting chart, hide the title, and let me keep it somewhere there. So that it fully goes there. Now let's bring hits to the sun. And let's hide this. And let's bring this here. Similarly, let's bring hits to the now let's add the home runs. Also the and also finally we want the trend chart also to be displayed. Now what we can do is we can make this plotting so that it is over this. Before that, let's remove all this. And also let's go back to this and make the, since we are plotting it over this one, let's provide the worksheet color as none so that we can see through that. Now what you can do is to exactly match up layout, you can use the layout this one to exactly match the locations. Now, since we are short of time, I'm just extending it like this. And now we can add the time chapter. And let's remove this. So, and also this sheet's name needs to change based on the parameter we are selecting. So currently it is selected on games. So now let's add a parameter action here. So go to dashboard, actions, add action, change parameter. So when I select the metric selected, I need to change the selected metrics to selected measure to selected. And when clearing, let me give it to this one. So that's it. So let me click on hits and see. It changes to hits. And if I change it to hits per game, you can work on the layout as per your system. I think you have a basic idea of what you can do. Does anyone have any questions? Also to what is it? Remove this highlighting, default highlighting. What you can do is we can add to this one calculations. Just I normally do it like this. And add both these calculations to the detail chart. And what we can do is come to the dashboard, add a filter action. So let's add a filter action. So just call it as the highlight. You can call it any name you want. So whenever I select, click on the, so whenever I select metric selector, I need the metric selector chart to show all values. And based on, let me add the, that is true. And target field, keep it as false. So now you can see that that default highlighting is removed. Yep, that's it from my end. Any questions? Anyone?
Guys, I think there must be so much information overload with the back-to-back 3 workout Wednesday challenges. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask now. And the one of the last tips that Ajay added around this de-highlighting, that is something pretty much cool, and as well as it doesn't looks good. So for user experience, you should always try to do this. Also for doing a better formatting, go to the layout and grab those X and Y and do that formatting in that better way, because if you're dragging it around, it might not be effective, plus it will be time consuming. So using that layout option and X and Y coordinates will give you pretty much more control over each element. So I think that's what I'll add on this. And Ajay already mentioned about this, but if you have any questions around all these 3 challenges, feel free to ask now, or you can always go back to the recording. We'll be soon posting the recording as well, and we'll sharing that link to your email addresses as well. So that is it. As well as you can always ping me, ping Ajay on LinkedIn, Twitter. We are always there. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer that. I see some smiling faces. Unas, that's great. I think he enjoyed it. That's
Yeah,
great.
it was really good, Ajay. It's it's extend, like you are extending the time and giving back to back 3